the effects of award shows, and missing baseball. This is TV Plus Talk on MacVoices.
Hello and welcome to another episode of TV Plus Talk, where we discuss all things Apple TV related and sometimes some other stuff as well, let's be honest. Hello, Chuck Joyner.
Hello, Charlotte Henry. I like that. Sometimes other stuff. Yeah, that it does sneak in.
Look, I feel we should just be honest with our listeners and viewers at this point. They know what they're in for.
Yeah, true. Here we are, folks.
This is what I'm saying. I mean, and there's never been a better illustration of this than the first thing you sent me that you wanted to discuss, which is... No, you're taking the blame for this. This is Lowe's. You're going to have to tell me what Lowe's is. It's selling 10-foot inflatables of Lionel Messi. He seems to be in a Lowe's branded kit, not an Argentina kit. And this is all in aid of the World Cup. But I think there's an Apple angle here, because obviously Americans have become much more accustomed to Messi since he's been in the MLS.
Okay, so first, I agree with the angle.
Break it down.
Right. Lowe's is a hardware retailer chain here in the U.S., it's like a big box hardware kind of store. And
so what we're talking kind of home base B&Q type vibe.
I would think so, yes, from what I know of that. Yeah. They also have sort of started to become known for these huge inflatables around holiday time, and I saw this and I thought Charlotte needs to know about this because regardless of the shipping, she's going to want one. So I'm sure you're making arrangements right now. The question
is, have you bought me one and put it in the post?
Not yet, but it's always a possibility.
Wow, you think you know someone, you think someone's your friend.
Well, my concern is that judging by the camera angle, I'm not sure you have a 10-foot ceiling to inflate it in the corner for you.
That's a very good point. Because I'm 5 foot. Basically, I'm exactly 5 foot tall. And I'm not sure two of me could... I think you're probably right now you mention it.
Yeah, so there are practical concerns.
So hang on, this is two of me high?
Apparently so.
Wow. That's a lot.
And listen, and you seem to be the head of the Messi fan club here in the US. So even though you're in the UK, so I thought right away that you should know about this.
I mean, I'm very pleased to know about it. Hang on, I'm just looking up how tall Messi is in real life. So he's 5'7". So this is just under twice of him, two of him. What I'm interested in, well, first of all, let's talk about the Apple angle. Let's pretend to be serious for 20 to 30 seconds. Obviously, in Europe, we've known about Lionel Messi for decades, playing at both Barcelona, where he came through very young, and then Paris Saint-Germain. There seems to have been a change in American perception of him since he joined MLS. And I think Apple both cashed in on that to try and get people to buy the season pass when that existed. And obviously the sort of people behind the Messi brand themselves seem to have got involved in it. So it's quite interesting how Apple has been behind this rise of the brand in the US.
From what you have educated me, Charlotte, to Messi's popularity in the UK. So I agree with everything you just said, and I think it makes a lot of sense to have that an incredibly popular player in the soccer/football world be one of the lead things that was involved in Apple's involvement with that sport on Apple TV.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, you and I, once this deal was done, discussed it, fairly extensively. And it's interesting that all these other brands, look, we get this all the time around these big sports tournaments, whatever it is, Olympics, I know around the NFL, and Super Bowl particularly, there's all these advertising opportunities and so on and so forth. But this is, I think, quite an Apple correlated one. I have to ask you, have you seen the latest Adidas advert in which Messi plays a part?
No, I have not.
It is incredible. It is a work of art. He's actually not that big a part of it, but he's an Adidas athlete, and so obviously they're going to use him. But it is genuinely a piece of filmmaking art. I can't even begin to describe it. It's about 2.5 minutes long. I'll include a link in the show notes. But it's just this idea of brands, and particularly the way brands are rising during the World Cup. I'm kind of interested to see, obviously Apple doesn't have any rights to the World Cup anywhere in the world, as far as I'm aware. I'm very interested to see how they're going to navigate this, because it is in the US and they have the rights to MLS. Some of the players that are playing in the World Cup will be appearing on Apple TV every week. So I'm intrigued to see if Apple can cash in on the buzz around the World Cup. And that might not be with giant inflatables.
Well, it's one of those things that, listen, the fact that someone would undertake the marketing of this says a lot about Messi's popularity, and in relation, the popularity of, again, soccer/football, depending on which country you're watching this from. So it struck me as, even though it's not Apple branded, there is an Apple TV angle here, as well as the sport angle that now suddenly, I put it this way, and I'll probably get emails, but I am not aware of any other sports figure that has a 10-foot inflatable. I could be very wrong about that, but I'm not aware of one.
Please do send us pictures of any 10-foot plus inflatables you have of sports stars. I want to see an enormous inflatable Aaron Judge. That's what I want.
Okay.
If you have one, I want to see it.
Yes, and Charlotte's email will be in the show notes.
Absolutely. Actually, talking of Aaron Judge, I missed him the other night on Friday. I missed the Subway series on Friday night because I forgot baseball is on Apple TV. That's bad, isn't it? I totally slipped my mind that this game, I didn't get a notification, which is interesting. I thought I'd get a push notification from Apple, but the Subway series has been going on. The Yankees had a bit of a disaster the night before we were recording this, but it started on Friday night, I believe, and I looked at the TV broadcaster of baseball in the UK, which is TNT Sports now, and the streaming service HBO Max. It wasn't there. They were showing another game, but I could see the game was going on, and I totally blanked that Friday Night Baseball happens on Apple TV. I'm sorry to ask you this question, Chuck, but is this another Apple TV marketing screw up?
I'm not ready to say that, Charlotte, because I'm not aware of how much marketing that baseball does at all. Now, I'm very quick to tell you I am not a baseball fan. I had to sit and process what you were saying about the Subway series to make sure that I was on the same page. So I really don't know, with the exception of maybe promotions in a given city for their hometown teams, how much wider publicity gets done. So this one, I have no idea.
I was a bit surprised. If you've got New York Mets versus New York Yankees on a Friday night on your app, you've got some big players playing in that game, Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, etc., etc. I'm surprised they didn't make a bit more of an effort. Unless I don't think I've turned push notifications off because I get other things. I'm a bit surprised they didn't make a bit more of an effort to capitalize on that.
Again, I can't comment because I I would not, if you had shown me that game and promoted it to me, I'd have said, yeah, okay. Yeah, two teams are playing. That's about all that I know.
No, I was a bit surprised and a bit frustrated because I ended up missing it. Anyway, maybe that's my fault, not Apple's. They have had a good week though, because they've got some awards here in the UK. So we've had the BAFTAs, which takes place. There's different versions of the BAFTAs. There's the TV BAFTAs, there's the film BAFTAs. There are BAFTAs for video games. There's a lot of different versions of them, but Apple did pretty well. It picked up a BAFTA for the studio, which became its most awarded series, I believe. And so that's the TV, it does what it says on TV. It's a studio, it's a TV series based in a TV studio. And it became the most awarded freshman comedy in history, whatever that means. And the first comedy award to sweep all major awards in a single season, and lands Apple TV its first international category win. This is a big deal. The BAFTAs is a serious, it is a serious award, and so that's another kind of tick in the box for Apple and its award season campaigns and victories, I guess.
At the risk of repeating things we've said before, I just think it's an indication that the content is there, that the quality is there. It feels like it just has to. I don't know if we're waiting for it to reach critical mass when there's suddenly going to be this realization there's all this quality content over on this particular service, and that's going to drive subscription to Apple TV, or is it just a matter of having people looking for a given show and discover that it's on Apple TV? Because we've had this conversation before. I don't think of, I need to subscribe to Netflix or Prime or whatever to watch a TV show or a particular show. I think of the show that I want to watch and then say, okay, it happens to be on that. Now I've got to go there and decide whether I'm going to subscribe or not, with the possible exception of the Paramount Star Trek connection, which seems to be almost go hand in hand. But that's speaking as a Star Trek fan, and maybe that's why I'm aware of it.
And also and Disney and Star Wars, probably people would make the same connection, Disney and Marvel.
That's fair, yeah.
My point is just, look, we're 7 years in now. Maybe I should stop making this point. But every time there's a sort of credibility test for Apple TV, and the BAFTAs is inevitably one. Winning a BAFTA is a big deal. It has, over these years, repeatedly ticked it. It didn't win a fluke Oscar and then it's never won anything again. This stuff keeps happening. And, I haven't heard much conversation around the studio in the UK. I haven't heard much conversation around it in general, but certainly not in the UK. It hasn't had a kind of Ted Lasso moment, let me put it that way. And yet it's picked up this very significant award. And Apple clearly, from the press release, is pretty pleased with itself as well.
So, Charlotte, educate me a little bit. Are we I'll use myself. Okay. Am I the right audience that I would be aware of these, of the importance of these kind of things? From the kind of viewer that I am, I tend to say, okay, yes, I know the Emmys, I know the Academy Awards, I know the Tonys.
Yeah.
I've even heard of BAFTA. All right. But I don't know that any of those award shows, or I've never watched the award shows. And I don't know that because something won a particular award is going to drive me to it. Now, if I've already watched the series and it wins, an Academy or an Emmy or whatever, then, great. I agree with that. I'm happy they won because they deserved it. It was a great piece of product. But other than that, is that something that drives people? Or is it more of an industry inside inside Hollywood kind of thing that maybe drives which stars are willing to go to which services or which studios?
I really don't know. I think it is a bit of a credibility check, right? If you turn on a streaming service and you see BAFTA winning or Emmy winning, surely you're a bit more likely to press play. If you're not 100% sure on a series, or we don't really know much about it, but it kind of looks appealing, and then you see it's got this award, I feel like that is likely to tip them into watching it.
Okay, that's an interesting way to look at it, that it's not going to push me to it, but it might affirm a choice that I'm making on the fly.
So. I would think so. And look, I don't know, people who are looking for new series or, reading the media and art sections of newspapers and TVs, guides and whatever else, such as they exist anymore, I wonder if it makes people pay a little bit of attention.
Well, any way you take it, it's good news. It's just the degree to which it's good news.
Look, as I say, I think we're long past the point where people are asking whether Apple TV is serious or not, whether Apple is serious about TV or not. I think we left that years ago, because I thought those initial awards really did matter in that respect. When I first started covering Apple TV, when it launched in 2019, I think that really did matter then. It was hugely about getting the credibility within the industry. Now I just think that's kind of keeping going. And I also suspect for Apple it affects commissioning choices. If something picks up an award, it's probably going to get another season kind of vibe.
And it also pushes, we've talked about the amount of talent that appears on Apple TV programs or programs that appear on Apple TV.
Sure.
And, that can't hurt, a given star's desire to participate in a project on that service as opposed to another service, maybe even, at least in the US, network TV. That network TV here has become such a disappointment that, people are not anxious to start in network TV shows anymore.
I'm sure it doesn't harm anything. I can't help but think money speaks louder than awards.
Point taken.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's...
Maybe I'm being a bit cool, but
no, I don't think you're wrong, Charlotte. But I have to wonder. My perception of Hollywood is that they're so aware of. Each star is so aware of their association with successful things, successful projects. And so
true.
Maybe that, is this driving up the price for network TV to have to pay someone to come over here when that might indicate you're not associating with something quite as successful? And I realize no emails, folks. I'm damning the broadcast TV's shows because they don't happen to appeal to me. So, but on the other hand, when you see 3 and 4 nights a week taken up with game shows,
it's because they're cheap.
Yeah, I know.
And let's be honest, the stuff Apple is making isn't cheap to make.
And it shows.
While we're on awards, are you a big musical fan? Chuck Joyner, I imagine you love a musical.
Oh, I just want to burst into song every time I see a
musical.
No,
I could tell. I have to restrain you every time we record this show from doing a musical intro. That's what I thought, because Apple has won 12 Tony, has picked up 12 nominations at the Tonys, including for Best Musical for its show Schmigadoon. Did you ever watch Schmigadoon?
I did not, for the very reason that it is a musical. So
no, it's quite fun. All right, so You can ask our mutual friend Kelly Gamont about this. I was cynical beyond belief. I was in a right mood about it, and I watched it, and it's quite fun.
I know
enjoyable.
people that
anyway.
Yes, I know a lot of people that love Schmigadoon, and as I recall, Schmigadoon I think was canceled, much to their disappointment.
Yes, people were very annoyed, but it got a few seasons. I really enjoyed it, and I'm not a big musical person, but it has picked up 12 nominations, including for Best Musical. So it's got Best Musical, Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role in a Musical for Sarah Chase, Best Performance in an Actress in Featured Role in Musical for Anna Gastier. I think I have pronounced that right. Best Direction of a Musical for Christopher Gatterley. Best Original Score, Best Book of a Musical, Best Orchestrations, Best Choreography, Best Sound Design, Best Lighting Design, Best Costume Design, and Best Scenic Design. These are big things. And the Tonys Award is obviously also a very big deal.
So more check marks in the good column.
I would think so, and they're probably very pleased at Apple to have broken into a part of the industry they weren't in before in musicals. Whether we get more musicals on Apple, we'll have to wait and see, wait and sing.
Well, okay, so let's review here. So we now, just in this show, we've talked about Apple winning and setting, if I understood it correctly, some sort of record in the comedy category. Now we see it in the musical category.
I think that I think the show has done well.
Yeah, we've talked about it in the sci-fi genre category so many times, but it seems like they may be finding niches where they are really good, but they also are spreading themselves out and hitting other categories too, which should appeal to a broader subscriber audience.
You would think so. I always thought Apple did very well being the place where you got really, really good sci-fi and fantasy, even if it's not my personal favourite thing to watch. I always thought it was very good at being a place renowned for that kind of work. But yeah, throwing in these extra bits can't hurt a service at all. You know, it just can't. And there were some very good performances in Schmigadoon, and it was great fun.
Sure, and I agree with you on the sci-fi thing, but also let's not forget Slow Horses in a drama area. In the drama area. Let's not forget Shrinking. Let's not forget Ted Lasso. Let's not forget the comedy.
Let's not forget Ted Lasso.
Yeah, well, I know it's become almost a meme, but there's no question that people relate to it. So. There's something there for everyone.
Have you seen the latest trailer for Ted Lasso? Did you see it when it came out? I think it was in between the shows we've done.
I did not, no.
There is a trailer. I'm horrified by it. I'm sorry. I'm doomed. I'm not happy. This is not a spoiler because it's in the trailer. Ted is back in Richmond and he's coaching the women's team. And it's just a bit too schmonzy for me. I'm sorry.
I have not seen the trailer. And
okay, you need to watch it.
But I will reserve judgment until I see it.
No, don't do that. I want instant, ill thought out, rapid reaction.
You mean on your part?
No, on your part.
On my part.
Too sensible.
Okay. All right. I will give you my.
We don't do well thought out opinions on this show.
Well,
you can have a look. Yeah, exactly. And also I'm looking forward to the musical number to start next week's show. It'll be great. Actually, still slightly on musicals. John Travolta is coming to Apple TV. The actual John Travolta.
The actual
off
one.
of Grease, and the actual one off of Saturday. What's it called? well, Grease is what I associate him with. But yeah, he's going to be there. It's called Propeller One Way Night Coach. It's written, directed, and narrated by John Travolta, set in the golden age of aviation. Oh, obviously, because he's obsessed with planes, isn't he?
You know, I looked
he's an aviation.
Yeah, I saw the announcement on this, and I thought, okay, this is an interesting premise, and that's as far as I really got in analyzing it. So, but you know, Travolta, here we go. Travolta is another name that now wants to be associated, or is now associated with Apple TV.
Yeah, absolutely. I think his daughter is in it as well as one of the characters. So you know, see. I am quite, look, I love Grease. I'm not going to knock it. So, you know, great fun. I know I'm going to get emails about the other John Travolta stuff, you know, Saturday Night Fever, Pulp Fiction, all of that, which is, you know, great work. But for me, he'll always be Danny from Grease.
Then he's resonated with you. That's all that's important.
Listen, don't pretend you don't know every word to Grease.
I don't need to pretend.
Okay. Oh dear. Just to wrap up, another thing that's coming to Apple TV is something called Disavowed, which is a new action thriller. Jay's Marsden and is acting and executive producing it. Art Markham and Matt Holloway are involved as well. You know me, I love a thriller. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, same thing. This looked like something written up that will definitely appeal to me. So I hope it's executed as well as the initial promo, because I think it sounds intriguing. Yeah.
As I say, we've enjoyed lots of thrillers on Apple TV before, haven't we? Prime Target was one we watched recently. There's all sorts. So I'm up for this one. I don't know if we have a release date yet, but obviously it will come through. Marsden is playing what it refers to as a legendary CIA officer, Brad Griffin. He gets fired. I'm sure we'll see. I'm sure we can guess slightly which direction this is going to go in, but that doesn't matter because thrillers are fun.
Absolutely. As long as they're done well. Yeah.
To be honest, I don't mind a trashy thriller. I have to be honest with you.
Okay. Do you have any in mind?
If it's a bit... I just don't mind things if they're a bit sort of wham, bam, bit of fun, not too serious. Like, I'm okay with it.
What was the one that was on Apple TV? Wasn't it released in the theaters? Oh, they spent so much money on it, and I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, that was a movie. This is an ongoing series.
Right.
This is a series, not a movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
so
again, we'll see.
Okay, Prime Target wasn't stupid. That was quite clever. But, yes. You know, if a bit of running around, things going bang, I don't mind, you know, I'm okay with that. Not everything has to be clever.
Send your trashy movie suggestions to Charlotte, along with your
trashy
pictures
movies,
of Aaron Judge.
Trashy thriller series. I'm up for all of it. Anything else you're watching, want to talk about? Need me to know about?
I want to throw in just one quick thing. It took me a little while to get through it, but I finished Chief of War, the Jason Momoa series, and it seemed
how were Jason Momoa's arms?
I was looking at the acting, not the arms, but as far as I know, they were pretty good.
Right.
But this is something that I've noticed. It seems to be happening more and more, and not just on Apple TV, but everywhere. That if you have to have subtitles turned on, unless you are multilingual, multilingual, because in this case, they were jumping back and forth between English and native Hawaiians, and sometimes almost in the same scene. And I find this, honestly, I find it a little annoying that you're producing this for an audience. Either, do it one way, do it the other, give me an audio soundtrack option. But the fact that I have to constantly make sure that, okay, I have subtitles turned on, and you're going back and forth. And I understand the arguments over authenticity, and this does not apply to this series because I thoroughly enjoyed this series. But it seems to be everywhere, and I'm starting to feel like maybe it's directors and producers fighting back against the idea that we don't give their series 100% eyeball time, that we may be doing other things. We may have a laptop on our laps, looking up something or whatever, as opposed to,
scrolling on the phone
right here. Yes. Yeah. And so, that is a trend that somebody dispute me. I totally, again, understand the authenticity idea. And I think it's fascinating that, the number of native speaking characters that they did have here, and whether all of those spoke Hawaiian natively or whether they had to learn it. But bottom line is, it's just a trend that I don't find appealing. And I feel like just give me the option to watch it the way I want to. And then if you want to present the options for someone who wants to experience it that way, great. Don't just do it for me, but give me options, please. Other than that, I recommend it highly. It was a fun series.
Yeah. It's been generally well received, and not just because of Jason Momoa's arms. I'm interested in this because I would have thought when there's shows using these different languages, which, as you say, has a lot of the authenticity reasons, which makes a lot of sense. I'm surprised that the translation is not just built into the show, that you actively have to put on the translations. The subtitles.
I would agree. Yeah, because there's some, and especially in movies, if there's one or two scenes or even a few more where a character is speaking a language, and I'm trying to think, the movie. Well,
there's lots of shows where people jump into English, Arabic, French, whatever. I mean, I think, again, I bring up Prime Target. There were different languages used in it.
True. Yeah. So that's a really.
Oh, I tell you another
say
one.
That.
Monarch. They have Monarch Legacy of Monsters. There's lots of scenes in Japanese, aren't there?
Yes.
Particularly at the beginning.
And
but that's just directly translated, and it makes sense to be in that language, but it's just directly translated with subtitles on the screen. When I was watching that, I didn't have to put the subtitles on, did I?
Right, and that at least is a little better. It's a little better, but I still.
So you're saying you actually had to put subtitles on?
Yes.
Oh.
So I again, give me an option that is. I know it's more work, but on the other hand, now in the age of AI, it shouldn't be that much work to give me maybe just an audio, even if it's a dubbed version, for the foreign language. But give me an option that lets me listen to it the way that I want to listen to it, or watch it, or experience it the way I want to. As opposed
I would have
to
just thought that they. Yeah, I would have just thought they would have the language there for the authenticity, and then just have it subtitled directly on the screen without the viewer having to watch it. I'm confused that you had to do anything.
Maybe I'm doing something wrong with my Apple TV.
No, because I'm thinking of another Apple show that jumped between multiple languages, and I think I mucked it up with subtitles. I can't remember. We won't go into it now. But I think having those shows in different languages authentically is great. It makes complete sense in terms, artistically. I'm just, as I say, I'm just surprised that you had to do any extra work.
Yeah. Well, and you think, okay, is this going to be, and I eventually learned, is it just going to be, one or two off that comments in a foreign language that you can deduce the meaning of in the next 30 to 50 seconds? We've seen those, and that's pretty easy. But when it's an extended discussion or it's something that is a meaningful part of the plot, and I'm completely missing it if I don't have the translation on. I have no idea, what's driving the next scene. And maybe I'm being grumpy. I don't know. Somebody tell me if I'm being grumpy, and I will shut up. But it just feels a bit manipulative at this point. So
interesting. And I'm very interested in your point about trying to stop us second screen scrolling.
Well, consider it. I mean, that's
definitely a
maybe.
thing.
Yeah, maybe I'm just again being grumpy, and maybe I'm talking about just the way I want to do it.
Maybe.
But what I want folks to do now is I want them to take advantage of all the things that you do and all the ways that they can contact you. And they would be?
You can catch me on social media at Charlotte A. Henry across pretty much any platform. The best thing to do is head over to theedition.net. You can read all my blog posts from the crossover of culture, media and sport there. You can listen to the podcast there. You can sign up to the newsletter, which is now free there. So do head over, sign up to the newsletter, and don't miss out on anything. Where will people keep up with you, Chuck?
MacVoices.com. That's where you'll find everything. We have quite a variety of things going on right now. In addition to our regular content, we're doing the Road to Macstock. I'm still releasing some interviews from NAB this year. And you never know, there might be a couple other surprises along the way. And on the socials, you can find me as @ChuckJoyner. But I do want to throw in an endorsement for either Charlotte's most recent episode or one of the most recent episodes with Jeff Gamet. Because I took issue with a lot of what you both said. So at some point we'll address that, but that's another discussion. But it was a great discussion you two had. So,
wow. All right. Head over to theedition.net, check out that podcast episode, tell Chuck why I'm right and he's wrong.
And as always, thanks for watching TV Plus Talk. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices, or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.